Welcome to the Deprogram show. I'm your host, RMJR, man. We got a very special guest in the building. Mr. Hear Me, Don't See Me. Mr. Progress, Action, Knowledge Only. We got Pako in the building. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me.
Man, no
Lending
problem.
the platform to me.
No problem, man. This is the Deprogram show, man. And with that being said, man, your music is quite deprogramming in a sense.
Right.
So how did you get into doing music, my brother?
Man, honestly, music's something I always wanted to do. But at the time, I guess, like I said, I don't want to show my age, but you know what I'm saying? I'm 36, man, you know what I'm saying? So I seen the Tupacs and the Biggies and the Ice Cubes and what I mean, all in the heyday. Not saying that what now is not important, but, you know, it was a different tone. It was a different message. And that's what I fell in love with, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, you know what I'm saying, you younger, you think you got to be this street nigga. You think you got to be this, you know, be that. And I knew early on from, you know, a kid that, you know, that wasn't me because that's not how I generally felt. So I always thought I could do it, but I always wondered how I could go about it. And now that I got old, I realized, you know, you gotta live life to have a message and, you know what I'm saying, something that you're standing on. So I just needed an understanding of who I was as a man first before I got it. So that's how I got into music, honestly.
So when did the Hear Me, Don't See Me part come about?
The Hear Me, Don't See Me part came about pretty much just I used to sit and, like I said, I always thought about the fact of rapping, and nowadays I used to always sit and watch. If you ever know of Wu-Tang, I seen an interview, and Ghostface, he used to wear a stocking mask, like a stocking cap, and he said that's how he was gonna come out at first, but they was telling him that he couldn't do that, you know what I'm saying, for, you know, marketing purposes and all that. So I always just thought about that. But when I got into it, I was like, man, how I'm gonna come out here and be rapping? Because like I said, man, we from chat, man. Everybody know who, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People know if you know. So that was kind of just like being you know, trying to be creative and having the marketing tool with it without being, you know, too much of a character, just giving a little character to it, you know, growing into it.
So based on the slogan, you feel like it's more important to be heard than to be seen.
Exactly. And that's what I said. So it's a lot to go into the Hear Me, Don't See Me, but the basis of it and what it is I'd rather you hear what I'm saying than be seen. I ain't trying to, you know, keep up with the image. I ain't trying to sell your image. I'm only trying to give you room to judge me off what I'm saying.
Okay. So if you want to go into more about what come into it, or you want to leave that alone?
I mean, we can go into it. I mean, but like I said, it really, like I said, it's really just being, you know, creative in my own way. Cause even if you think of like superheroes when we were younger and stuff like Batman, you don't know him until he put on, you know, come out and he turned into Bruce Wayne. You know, he turned into Batman. So that's just kind of like my character, my superhero type of thing. You know what I mean?
So I mean, I appreciate the way you don't break character, because a lot of entertainers, they don't understand. Look, man, this is entertainment, but you could teach them something. But a lot of them break character early on. But I noticed you ain't never broke character.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I ain't really giving you a character. It's funny to me because I be when I wear my hat or something, Hear Me, Don't See Me, I see somebody out and they be like, hey, I heard something, I done seen that somewhere, and I heard it, and I know it registered because, you know, we go over what we see. You probably ain't even really thinking about the music, but over time, if you just repetitiveness, if you keep seeing this out, eventually, you know, I feel you're gonna be drawn into it. So it's my kind of like a mind fuck trick to me. You know what I'm saying? Like a psychology type thing, basically what I'm saying. Try to draw you in. You know what I'm saying? To give you some jewels, and you like if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't.
Yeah, I feel. So how many projects you got out?
Right now, man, I got my first project was Medicine and the Candy, and that's self-explanatory in itself. You know, you got to give them. Because that first vibe is pretty much like a mixtape, really. That was pretty much my first time putting. That's why so many tracks on there, because I was just going in the booth with my boy Rick, and I was just recording. Like every other day, I was just coming with different beats and recording stuff. And eventually, I was like, man, let me just try and throw it out. So that's kind of me just fishing with it. The next album was On That Spirit, and that was produced by my boy Wild Extraordinaire, Circle Beats.
Shout out Extraordinaire.
Shout out Extraordinaire, man. And really shout out, I don't know if you know my boy Chris Abernathy, he the one who kind of, middleman all of it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Chris Abernathy, he got,
I gotta give him,
shout out Chris Abernathy. When he see me, he normally say, double R, double R, double R. That's his little thing for me. Shout out Chris Abernathy.
Shout him out for real, for sure.
Yeah, Chris Abernathy, he'll move and a shaker. If y'all don't know him, y'all need to tap in with him. Man, so the Unmatched Spirits, it's got a soulness to it, man. Like, what made you tap into that type of music?
Because at the time, like I said, everything that I've been doing been organic. I don't try to force nothing. I just kind of try to let it come to me, and I move. And like even little shows I go to, I might meet somebody to do beats. I might meet this person, and like that's how I kind of met Chris. I just used to see him out all the time, and I just reached out to him, and that's how we linked up. After we linked up, and he heard some of my music, that's when he put me on the Walt. But the dope thing about Walt is that's why I say some stuff be self-confirmation to me to make me keep going.
Yeah,
because Walt and my grandmother who passed, they went to school together.
Wow.
I didn't know that till we was creating a song, and I mentioned something in the record, and he asked me, he said, your grandmother used to go there? And this was the time my grandmother passed.
Yeah.
So that music, that's why I said a lot of it was created like right after she passed. Like the video I got called Pen Cry, that's why I created that thing, and that's how we figured out that they went to school together, because he sent me a picture of my grandmother and his mother like in the same class, like a class picture. Yeah. My grandmother was there, so that was like self-confirmation to me, just like, okay, you in the right position, because my grandmother was somebody I wanted to tell her, what I was doing, but she didn't. She passed before I got to actually show her what I was doing and let her know. So that was the Unmatched Spirit, pretty much me tapping into. I was vulnerable. I was going through it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never lost nobody close to me, like that. So that's how Unmatched Spirit got created.
Man, the Pen Cry, man, that's one of my favorite songs. Pen Cry, you poured your heart out on that one.
Yeah.
And it's like, who are you inspired by? Like dudes like you know who Fiend is?
You talking about the No Limit thing?
Yeah.
I heard it.
Like the Pen Cry, it got a touch of Jay-Z, but the feel is like a Fiend or like the Currency type style.
Yeah. I like. I'm glad you said I like Currency, his cadence, and how he just laid back. But it came from being inspired by Jay-Z's song Cry. That's why the name Pen Cry. That's why I'm saying you can't see him coming down my eyes, but I got to make this pen cry. That was just me and being creative, and just I do like Jay-Z music, and that's one of my favorite songs. And at that time, that's when my grandmother passed, and that's how I end up even writing the second verse.
Yeah.
To the songs, cause like I said, in Pen Cry, if you ever seen the video out to the visual.
Yeah, y'all go tap.
Yeah. That was shot by my boy OG Status. You know what I'm saying? Check him out, Geo Films. But the whole video and the concept was, like you said, I was pouring my heart out. It was based off the movie Fresh. If you ever seen the movie Fresh, I'm a big movie head. I try to, be creative. If you seen the movie, he was this little kid that, he was hustling, but he always had a bigger picture of what it could be, and he was moving like a grown man at an early age because he had a vision of something that he wanted to, have later on in life. So that Pen Cry, that's why I was pouring out, and that's why I was tapping into all that. The movie based off of the movie, from Jay-Z song, my grandmother passed and all that. It just came out that way.
Okay. So, man, the project been out about a year.
Definitely, yeah, it's been out a year.
So now you're hitting them across the head. You're hitting them across the head majorly. Can't beat God.
Right.
When I heard it, I was like, because I was up on the Unmatched Spirits,
mm-hmm.
And then, see, I'm a music head to this degree. Like, I study styles, and it's like, you know who Larry June is?
Yeah.
So, Fiend, International Jones, Larry June, when I heard your music, and another guy in the city that kind of give me similar flavor, but he tap into it. Tez D the Running Man. Sometimes he kind of tap in to that spirit, but he don't stay too long.
Yeah.
But when I heard You Can't Beat God, I was like, man, it's something different.
Yeah, right. I even the whole the creation of it when I was creating it, you know how you can like I just felt different. You know what I'm saying when I created. Actually, that was created before the unmatched spirit. It was created for a lot of. So I've been holding it for a long time. When I created it, was just like I kind of felt like, man, it's too big for right now for me. Not saying it, arrogantly, but I just felt different, or I felt the tone of it different. You know what I'm saying? How I even was delivering it. And so I held on to it. It's a lot of stuff I got that I just held on to because, like I said, I'm just really getting into really making music and knowing how to go, you know what I'm saying? Knowing how to actually record in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I used to write poetry when I was younger, but I ain't never really tapped into actually going to the studio and making a track and making music. So the Can't Be Guide, that was after I kind of got, familiar and comfortable with my voice. Because at first I used to hate my voice. That's why I used to tell Rick, man, I don't even like my voice. He was like, man, I'm telling you, just go with it, just go with it. So shout out to Rick D too, man.
Shout out Rick Dave, man.
Rick Dave, for real.
So man, I've been studying. Like when I do an interview, I study everybody I interview.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into You Can't Beat God, progress, action, knowledge only.
Right.
How did the name come about?
Actually, Pako is it's really when I was younger, man. When I was born, my mom and my pops had a mutual friend, like my godfather. When I was born, he used to say, man, that little baby look Mexican because of my hair and shit. He used to say, man, I'm going to call that little baby Pako. I'm going to call him Pako. So when I got older, I just used to always, play around with the name. You always want to have an alias or cool name or something to go by. So one day I was just telling somebody, I was like, man, my name is Pako. And I just kept going with it. And after that, I made it an acronym. So the progress and action knowledge only came after I wanted to make. Like, why? Because I know somebody going to say, why your name Pako? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they say I'm Mexican, nigga. Why, are you Mexican? You know what I'm saying? So that's how the acronym came about with it. But it's a whole nother story behind it. So
give us the story. We got time.
That's why I was just saying when I was younger, when I was born, they said my hair was so slick, so that's why he called me Pako. He said I look like a little Mexican baby.
Yeah.
That's how the name came about. That's the backstory with it. But.
Okay, so You Can't Beat God.
Mm-hmm.
What went into picking the track? Or you just heard and you like, man, I got flow on this.
Yeah. That's how it comes about. I don't never really just go to the studio and be like, just to go in. Every time I go in, I already got in mind what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna record. So I was just sitting one day, just listening to beats. And a certain beat came up, and I don't know if how everybody else got their creative vibe go, but I get a different feeling. You know what I'm saying? When I feel it, I feel it, and I just something it just came about, and I just let it, let what the beat told me to say. I don't never go in with like I'm gonna create this record or I'm gonna say this. It's whatever the beat tell me to say. That's why some records I might sound different on this because I be wanting my voice to be like an instrument with the track. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do too much over. That's why even I'm just then getting comfortable with doing ad libs. Rick used to tell me, man, you can do some ad libs. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. Because I already what I want to say is what I want to say. I don't want to do too much because it's not genuine to who I am as a person. So
yeah, I can dig that. So with that being said, so you didn't go in planning to deliver this message?
No, I didn't at all.
Man,
that's what I'm saying. I heard the record and two, at the time I was like delivering, like driving like a delivery service, and I used to always that's the only thing I used to do all day, just sit in my truck, make beat, listen to beats, and in my head while I'm delivering, I'm going different house to house. I'm delivering, but I'm writing stuff down in the book because that's what I do. I write stuff down, I come back and like I go make another delivery, come back and write something, and be like, and then think about it. And that's how it came about. And then when I got it all together, that's when I realized because I got it wrote down in a book, but and I didn't even know how to even. It looked like a poetry because that's what Rick said, man. How you able to even remember all that and write all that. Cause I said, cause I'm really, it's poetry to me. You know what I'm saying? Still.
So how long did it take you to write the song?
To write the song, honestly, man.
It's in its entirety.
In its entirety. Once I heard the beat and I actually started writing it, it probably took me like a day or two to actually write it. But when I sat down, when I went and recorded it, I listened to it and recorded it, and I was like, man, I need something else on it. That's why I got my buddy XL Wilbur on the end to speak that message, and he really delivered it.
Man, how long you been knowing him?
Since we were young, about 11, 12, like summer camp day, early.
Hold on. How old is that brother?
Man, he's not too much older than me. That bro, he got to be. Actually, he at least about maybe 38. I know he can't be. I don't think he's 40 yet. He ain't. He's 40 yet. Hold on. He ain't 40 yet, but he a military dude. He a military dude.
You could tell in his.
But even before he went to the military, when we was younger, he used to always have like a sense of like a preacher, he used to always have something to say, and it used to be funny, but he always have a different lingo about himself. But he was always him. And I reached out to him because he be doing his he got like I said, his channel XL Wilbur, and he rap, he do conscious rap, stuff like that. And I just heard him because he had a show and he was doing similar to you, and he breaking down the Bible, certain things, and he go over. And I was like, man, I'll be listening to you. It's dope. And I reached out to him, gave it to him. He sent it back the next day.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Cause when I heard it sound, it's kind of like Big Rube or the Last Poets type feel. And I was like, hold on, man, I'm gonna be honest, and I mean this with the most sincerity. No disrespect to our city, but don't stop pushing this. Yeah. Because our city, where we at currently, and they can get mad at me, I eat it. We ain't ready right now for it, but that don't mean you don't put it out. Yeah. And what I mean by that, you got to take it to where it's appreciated. Now, some people will, but it's like if you in the jungle and they ain't, you right here. Yeah. And the people right here, you gotta get through the transition, but that right there is timeless. When did you record that song? I recorded it. I've been holding for about 2 years. I recorded about 2 years ago. Man. So the first time you listened back to it, did it give you chills? Yeah, it did. Even when I was recording it, and I especially when I went back and when I listened to it, and I was like, hey man, I got him in the mixing, and he sent it back. That's why I've been holding it so long, because I even sent it on this platform. His name, and this how I got to him from Chris. He told me to reach out to this dude named TJ's DJs. He had a platform. Shout out TJ Chapman. Yeah. He was B.O.B. manager. Yeah. And he had a platform, and I sent the song to him. He listened to it. And I can tell the reaction, like real time live reaction, and he listening to him, he bobbing his head. And when he got to the end of it, a lot of people was telling me like, "Oh, that's different." I could just see in the chat like, "Oh, that's different." So I'm like, okay, maybe I got something. But he told me, he was like, "Man, you got something, but I think you need to have somebody else sing the hook or whatever." So that's why I hear the song, because now I'm thinking like, man, I need to find somebody. Was the hook different? No, the hook was the same. He was just saying, me, like I'm not on single, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I was telling Rick, I was like, man, but I felt it, you know what I'm saying? I just felt that's what I should say and how I should say it. And I know I can't sing, but I can try to harmonize a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I try to flirt around with it. But when he told me that, that's why I heard it, because I'm second guessing myself. Nah, you know what I'm saying? But I get that. But he was telling, man, the lyrics there, the delivery there, the beat, all that's there. He was telling me it could be a hit, man. It could be a hit. But he told me, about he was like, man, you should get somebody else.